and there was a knock on the door, and I went to the door, and I opened the door, and I saw the telegram boy, and he handed me the letter, the telegram it was called. It was going to be, and I just never forget that moment of realization that this is what has happened. That's all it said. We have to inform you that your son Patrick Jones is missing in action. Yeah, well, my name's Eric Jones, and I live here in Bishampton, in Worcestershire, small village, and I'm Pat's brother.
If you have to choose one episode, what would you share?
That's difficult. I think just being with him as children at my grandparents' farm, enjoying the harvest time and being together, playing on the farm. Yeah, we had many happy times. Difficult to pick a single one. Most boys did. But yes, that would have been his ambition, to have been a train driver when he came back out of the army, I think. Yeah. And when he left school, and he went to work for the railway, Great Western Railway, as a trainee fireman on the footplate. As steam engines, they had fireboxes to boil the water in the boiler, and the fireman was the chap who kept the fire going. So he started as an apprentice, and his first jobs were cleaning the engine, lighting the fire in the firebox and getting the fire going, and then he progressed through until he was able to go on the footplate, and at 18 he had reached the top grade, which we used to call them top link firemen, and so he was able to fire the engines on express trains, and that was a very much prized success of his. I remember him going on the footplate from Shrewsbury to Newton Abbot, which meant shoveling I don't know how many tons of coal. But he had fantastic muscles. Very, very strong lad he was. 21st of December, so he would have been called up, as we call it, on the 18th birthday, which was the 21st of December. He thought he was going to Hong Kong, to I think Malaya, which was also, there was a conflict in Malaya at the same time, but he wasn't. He was going to Korea. He was an infantryman, so he was in action as a foot soldier. I had two other contacts with the lads who were going to Korea. One was a cousin, Pat's cousin. They were in Korea together. They met in Korea and some stage in the activity over there. There was an article published in a newspaper called the Express and Star, which we used to have. And I can remember reading that article, and it mentioned that a company, which was the company was in, had been involved in heavy fighting. In those days, there were no telephones. We didn't have telephones or any modern methods of communication. And so news that you wanted to be communicated quickly was sent by a system called telegram. Yeah, I can't remember precisely, but it would have been round about the 21st, 22nd of November 1951. And there was a knock on the door, and I went to the door, and I opened the door, and I saw the telegram boy, and he handed me the letter, the telegram it was called, handed me the telegram to pass to Mother, but I knew what it was going to be, and I just never forget that moment of realisation that this is what has happened. That's all it said. We have to inform you that your son Patrick Jones is missing in action. And so we then were speculating, we were saying, oh, well, you know, perhaps he's a prisoner. Yeah. And one of the things that made it all the more difficult for my mother, because her brother, my mother's brother, was in the Second World War, and he was taken a prisoner by the Germans in 1940. So she'd already had her brother away, not knowing what was happening really, and then now she's got her son. We received the notification a long time afterwards, months and months after, to tell us that in actual fact it was confirmed that he had been killed in action. Yes, that somebody said they had seen his body recovered. And they also, I can remember them saying that he must have been killed instantly because of the injuries that he had sustained.
Do you know anything about the last moments of Pat?
No. And that has been one of the things that has haunted me throughout my whole life, is wondering what actually happened to him. Death throes, or whether he called for his mum, as a lot of young men do in action who facing death. And you never know the answer, but it's with you.
In Eric's case, you've never gone yet.
No.
Is there a reason why?
Mainly the flight. I do have the problems if I'm sat for a long time in one position, so on. Is the generosity that's been shown to Edna and Kath and to Andrew and Caroline. I think the thing that has been done, it's almost unbelievable that a nation could be so appreciative of the sacrifice that was made for them, because most of the European nations, as soon as the war was finished, they went back and forgot about it. No, I'm very appreciative of the fact that the Korean people have recognised the sacrifice that we made.
If you
Oh, I suppose it's very difficult to think in terms of, and so all that I've benefited from, and yet if I'd have been born 3 years earlier and he'd have been me, and my life would have been so totally different. Your sacrifice wasn't in vain because what you did has been appreciated by the people who were the main beneficiaries of what you did.